We've seen the numbers and the statistics. According to research done by Pew Research Center, young Americans are now less likely to become or remain Christian and more likely to become or remain unaffiliated with religion. That's what the numbers say. But we have reason to believe the tide is changing because my next guest says that between 2021 and 2022, 2% of people came back to faith. Studio 5 contributor Shima Baughman feels like something is happening, and from her perspective, America is experiencing a spiritual resurgence. Shima joins me to share her insights, and I am so eager to hear your thoughts on this. Can we first establish you're sort of part of this wave? Just briefly explain, I know we have a lot to get into, but your TikTok channel, why you started it and what you do.
Yes, so I started it because I started working with BYU and the Wheatley Institute at BYU to try to look at how religion leads to human flourishing. And so part of that, I was like, let me see what's out there, what's going on in the world of young people.
What are the young people saying?
Because the 18 to 24, that's the people, that's the group that we're losing, right? And also 20s and 30s, but we really want to make sure these young people are staying, and they were dropping off on, most dramatically. So I thought, where are they? They're on TikTok. So I got on there, I started my own little TikTok called Closer to Jesus Christ, but mostly I've learned so much from I follow all the young people, particularly doing Christian content, but also other religious content. And I've learned so much and seen so much. And it's neat to be on the kind of cutting edge of what's happening in the religion part of life, and to see kind of the little shift like we talked about in 2021 to 22. That 2% significant. I mean, you think of 2% of people nationally.
Because I think people would disregard that. Totally. Like 2%. What's 2%?
But anyone in this field is like, this is exciting. Because it's been going down, dramatically every year before that. And then all of a sudden we see an uptick. What's going on?
And numbers are numbers, but personally, can I ask you, were you surprised that the response you get to your TikToks and the viral ways they take off, does that surprise you?
And it's not me, like let's not say I'm viral, but the people I'm seeing that are viral, it's like, this guy named Joe Christian guy, right? He's just a guy, he makes jokes about reading the Bible, but like funny and very appropriate and very reverent. But I mean, he has millions of followers, right? Like 200 million likes when I last checked, right? That's the kind of thing, I'm like, young people it's all young people following him, right? Then there's Christian rappers. I mean, there's so many people doing really cool stuff, and they're young. They're in their early 20s.
So it begs the question, how is the information being presented? Not wrong, but in a way that simply doesn't connect. Because I think for a while we thought, oh, it's the actual information, meaning it's the religion or it's the message.
No,
This uptick would indicate perhaps it's just how that message is being wrapped.
Absolutely. I think, and that's what's so neat about these young people, because some of them are studying at different seminaries and different Christian schools and things like that, but they're able to kind of relate it to a younger audience and talk about their personal relationship. That's the big key. And some of the, very viral ones where people get on there and talk very openly in a way that our generation is not comfortable about their relationship with Jesus Christ and about their faith. And I think that's what's hitting, right? Vulnerability sells for this young crowd. They are spiritual and they want that, but they want it more real. And they also love music and they love things that are funny. I mean, you know what I mean? They're used to more dynamic stuff. They're not used to the lecture kind of didactic approach that we're used to. They want interesting. They want fun.
I didn't premeditate this question, so I hope it comes out in a sense of an appropriate way. Do you think there's something to do with the acceptance movement? Meaning there's been a lot of work done in the last several years for minority groups, right? In acceptance and being able to talk and accept one another's situations. Do you think that has something to do with it? When you say people are more open about talking about Jesus Christ or Christianity or spirituality, is there something there?
I think they're in general just more open about everything. Like they're willing to open that they have anxiety, for instance. Whereas like people, when we were young, we would never talk about any mental health struggles. It's just private and you keep it in. And they're just open about everything. So with their faith, they're just as open as about that. Whereas I think older generations are like, oh, I don't want to offend people by praying. I don't want to offend people by talking about how blessed I am. It's like, they're just like, they're out there with all of it.
It's all there.
It's all there.
So we have a couple examples we'd love your reaction to. So first there was a headline called The Bible Recap. Host amazed after taking top spots on Apple charts. This refers to host of the podcast, The Bible Recap, Tara Lee Cobble, and she said this: never would have imagined it, because my prayer 5 years ago was that 300 people would listen. Never did I imagine the #1 spot in Christian podcasts, much less all podcasts. What do you take away from that, Shima?
I think people are yearning for the truth. They want the Bible. They want to learn about Jesus. And I mean, this, along with some of the numbers we're seeing for The Chosen, I think they go hand in hand. It's like people watch Jesus in a way that resonates with them, right? That kind of more mirrors good TV in other contexts.
Good media. Good production,
right? Great acting, good, all those things. And then they see the Bible and they actually read it. I mean, the number of people that watch The Chosen and then read the Bible. It's so many. I mean, almost 600 million people have watched episodes of The Chosen. 600 million, almost. And then they're trying to get it to 1 billion people. I mean, they'll succeed very quickly. I mean, they're almost there. So it's like people want scripture. They want truth, and it does resonate. If you look at kind of a lot of the modern self-help movement. It's like a lot of those things are based on. You go back to do unto others
principles.
As they would do it,
Yeah.
right? It kind of, so it's like people are seeing that and they're like, that's what Jesus said. It's like they're seeing that this old truth still resonates. It's still truth.
I just had a conversation with a girlfriend who has stepped back from religion, and she was saying it's been a real struggle of hers to decouple values from religion for the reason you just said, like love your neighbor. That's scripture. That's the commandment. You know what I mean? You mentioned music is one way kids are being pulled in, or younger people, kids. Now I feel old. The kids are being pulled in. Let's watch a clip and talk on the other side. But this is the song Yet by The King Will Come, and this video has 12 million views on YouTube. Here we go.
Good. I know I'm not the same. But you knew that I would change, and I think that you're trying to tell me it's okay.
Okay, so that music sounds different, right? It's not your traditional stoic hymn, but you say it's bringing ears in.
Yes, so this one was particularly viral, and I liked it because it's a Utah group. I mean, there's plenty of other groups, but this is a beautiful group in Utah. It's an interdenominational group of Christians that sing about Jesus Christ. And there's some people that are Latter-day Saints, others are other types of Christians, but they've come together to say, like, we all love Jesus and we're gonna sing this. And what's cool about them is they have a rapper, right? They have a guitarist, they have a drummer. I mean, they're kind of doing, and they do this at night. It's not like it replaces church, but they have these kind of, they call warehouse worship, where people can come, and I mean, young people are coming and they're coming to worship, and they enjoy this kind of more interactive thing. It's like, it's not the same as church. It's not gonna replace church, but it's another way to worship.
We've got a fast 1 minute, but I wanted to reference this last example. There was a Christian event held at Auburn University in Alabama. This was back in September, and 6,000 students attended, 200 students baptized on the spot. And when asked about the event, best-selling author Jenny Allen said this: there is something very special happening right now. I believe in their hearts they are hungry for God, and they want God in a very real way. This is not manufactured. She believes those students were hungry for God. Do you feel that's true?
Absolutely. And there's other instances where Asbury University, there was a prayer session led by students that lasted from February 8th to February 23rd.
I remember
literally
that.
all night. And it's like, what is happening? It's because I think people have been lonely. They've been depressed. They've been anxious. And, kind of coming out of the pandemic, people are now wanting that connection. They want a relationship with Jesus Christ. They want a relationship with faith. They want to know their divine purpose, right? They're looking for these things. I think now that the panic is over, it's like, well, why am I here? What am I doing? And who can help me? And they feel less alone when they have a community of faith, or when they have a relationship with a divine being like Jesus or whoever they, worship. But I do see that. I think it's happening, and, I'm watching it.
Yes.
And I know you are too.
I am too. I value your insight on this topic, though. You're both in it and kind of around it, above it even. So I really appreciate your insight today, Shima. We'll watch it. Fascinating to see. Thank you.